in my last video when I said that I was going to do another video on the just abundance of wholesome, cursed YouTube content I came across in my search for information for that said video? Yeah, that isn't this video. That's gonna be another time, because as much as I love questioning my childhood and what I did in my free time, I'd rather talk about things that other people would question me for, like right now, which is obviously just so much better. So because a lot of you, my lovely viewers, possess the ability to read, you know that this video is indeed about lost media. Now, I don't have any real connection to these lost medias, I just think they're interesting, and what more do you need than that? I'd like to brag here that I do have some lost media. Well, I mean, not anymore. I did have media, and now it's lost. I don't know what kind of dumbassery I had to go through to lose all the videos that I posted on my second or third YouTube channel. Yeah, I know, I've been at this for a long time. But yeah, they're completely and utterly gone. I even tried, like, looking on old devices. They are gone, thanks to me. That is not the reason I'm doing this video, though. But it's kind of funny, because I'm an idiot. That's the joke. Laugh now. Please, subscribe. Thank you. Hey, it's Orangely, and today I'm going to be giving you a basic explanation of what lost media is, and then some pretty good examples of said media. So if you don't know what lost media is, that's completely fair. It's a pretty niche genre of content. You've got to be a special kind of person to look for media that, for the most part, was banned due to it being too disturbing to be shown. I do want to make it clear that not all lost media is NSFL. That just happens to be the most fascinating part of the community. So while that's not all of it, it does make up a pretty good chunk of it. And if you don't know, NSFL stands for Not Safe for Life. So if it wasn't already crystal clear, we can all see that I spend my time learning about very wholesome things, obviously. I do want to say here that I will not be going over the worst of the lost media content, because duh. However, the content that I'll be talking about can be a wee bit disturbing to some people, but in my opinion it's pretty mild stuff. So there's your warning. Do with it what you will. So now, after all of that, I finally give you my explanation on what lost media is. From my understanding, it's a type of content that was shown for a short period of time and then never shown again. Or the case where you had to have been there to see it, like, for example, when they show a deleted scene at a small convention, and then they never show it again. It could also be that the content was received pretty negatively and then taken down shortly after its release. Or it could have never been released due to reasons such as development problems, life being fucking difficult, and then the content turning out to be too disturbing or inappropriate to air in the first place. So yeah, good stuff. There may or may not be some more categories and conditions that go along with lost media that I just didn't mention, but yeah, that's basically the gist of it. Cute little side note here, that last part about the unreleased lost media, that can be a bit tricky because there are some pieces of lost media that are one step above being a complete myth, with some exceptions obviously. That meaning that there is very little evidence to support that it even exists in the first place, though that isn't to say that they don't make for a good story. I just think this last bit is fucking hilarious because there are some people who will look at other people as bad because they're looking for something that may not even exist. That concept is literally just amazing because that's literally how our world works anyway. There are two types of people in this world, those who believe and those who don't. I also mention this not only because I think it's utterly hilarious, but because there are some pieces in this video that fall under those conditions. So yeah, hey, look at that. I say things that are of use sometimes. And without further ado, I now bring you my favorite lost media stories, but told and explained by a fucking idiot. This first story is one of the most popular stories when it comes to lost media, so if you haven't already heard this story, be not afraid, sis. That is what I'm here for, to quench your thirst for knowledge about weird and quite frankly creepy topics. Very necessary work, I know. This story is about a animated short that was, at the time of the search, called Clockman. Obviously, that wasn't the name of the short because that would mean search over, like, immediately. Not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 5 years later, they actually found the short. So, how did this all come to be? Well, a user by the name Commander Santa posted on the Flood forums about an animation short that he remembered from his childhood. This is the original post. Quote, "This short animation was terrifying as a child. The scene is still burned into my mind 28 years later. It's of a young boy sleeping in his bed. Above his bed is a ticking clock. All the lights in the room are off, and it's very dark. Suddenly the clock begins to slow down its ticking, and eventually it stops. On midnight. When the clock stops, a greenish-bluish man climbs out of the clock. The boy wakes up just in time to see this man dressed in black grab him out of bed and kidnap him by carrying him through a window. The clock man takes the boy on some kind of terrifying adventure and brings him back to his bed before sunrise." End quote. So that description by itself is pretty creepy on its own, but this description could not have given me any kind of glimpse on how terrifying this animation actually is. Anyways, after giving more descriptors on the Clockman, he takes his search to 4chan, where another anonymous user claims that he also saw the short, though there were some teensy tiny differences, and one of those being that he remembers the Clockman to do a little dance. A little Irish dance. Unfortunately, the Clockman doesn't actually do a little dance in the short. And this turned out to be a kind of big mislead in the investigation as they looked into Irish folklore to see if that would lead them to any answers. Spoiler alert, no answers were given to them. Well, anyways, eventually in the search, they found a post way back from 2004 that just concreted that this animation short did exist at some point. Some of the main differences from the other two accounts was that the boy was actually a girl and she had lost her shoes and went to the wizard for help. But shortly after this find, the search actually died for a modest break of 2 years. But then it was brought back to life by the creator of the Lost Media Wiki. And with a post that compiled all the known information about the Clockman and the search, everybody was excited to see where the search would lead now. Now, Kate, the maker of the post, found a couple leads that ended up not going anywhere, but he did find the name of the studio that was distributing it. But unfortunately, that company had fallen off the face of the planet and could not be looked up. Eventually, an archive website called WorldCat was found, and what inside that archive was found? The name of the English dub, Sally. Now, all that was left to do was find this English dub, which was eventually uploaded to YouTube by the people who own this short, AAA Studios? Something like that. Or as I like to call it, Studios. And with Commander Santa confirming that this was indeed the Clockman short that he had been looking for all these years, the search came to a close on January 11th, 2018. Yay! Now more people can be scarred by the Clockman. I know, that's exciting. I recently rewatched the clip and oh boy, is it something else.
She fell asleep, but the wizard did not forget. To his magic chamber. Who now remembered a strange dream she had once, many years ago. Mr. Kadabra was very proud of Sally. He knew she wouldn't be back.
Like, what even? People got f***ed up with old kids' cartoons. This next story, it doesn't get better. In fact, it's probably even worse than the Clockman as it deals with topics and contents of terribleness. It's just awful. Fortunately for you, you can't scar yourself with it because it is still lost and will probably remain lost for the remainder of time. Anyways, this dumpster fire of a search starts on a dumpster fire of a website, 4chan, on the X or Paranormal board. An anonymous user, prompted by the post, "What is the darkest shit you've seen on the dark web?" he typed a description of an anime that was about 30 minutes long about naked girls in a bathroom with no doors, talking about how they would never get out. With that already sounding absolutely fucking terrible, the user continues to describe that the girls are in there for a couple days and they begin to go insane as they are dying and starving to death, and they decide that the best way to go about this is to unalive themselves by brutal ways such as bashing their heads on the floor, ripping their throats open, and drowning. The user then goes on to say that this anime made this person cry to themselves and really regret their life decisions, which is kind of like, no Sherlock, you're on the dark web. And like every other lost media search, this divided people into the non-believers and the believers. Those non-believers ended up being trolls and people who tried to encourage people to stop the search because they were just convinced that this go for a punch was just a creepypasta. But the haters did not stop the believers from doing what they wanted, and they wanted to search for this lost anime. Now, somebody in the original thread posted that the name of the lost anime might be Saki sanobashi, though the OP didn't actually comment on it, so that was basically just something made up. That fact, however, did not stop people from calling it Saki sanobashi, even though for the remainder of their search they used the name that was given by OP. But other than that, there wasn't too much that was added to the description or to help aid the search. However, eventually there was another 4chan user that claimed that they had seen this messed up anime, going on to claim that they recounted that there was 9 girls in the bathroom and that the ways that the girls died was drawn and just shown in disturbing detail. But unfortunately, only having 2 accounts of this anime wasn't proven to be any help, so that left room for a lot of people to come on and say that this search was a fruitless endeavor and that this could be literally any dark web anime and that this wasn't special and it was a waste of people's time. With this and the fact that there wasn't much more information out there, the search died for in 3 years. And people were thinking that I was gonna stay dead until a Twitter user by the name Fabianski, something like that, asked if anyone else had seen this anime, and it was pretty close to the other 2 descriptions of this anime, which helped spark the search up once again. This spark led to the creation of the subreddit r/Saki sanobashi, which was dedicated to finding this lost anime. However, eventually on this subreddit, it was led to its own demise by someone who claimed to be Saki sanobashi OP. They made the argument that they had just made it up as a joke and that it had gone too far now that a YouTuber had made a video about it. This person brought evidence to the table that helped solidify that this person was indeed the OP, and from that point, people decided that this was a fruitless endeavor and that they should stop wasting their time, and the search died down once again. However, a user by the name Stelios Radis was like, "Yeah, I don't f***ing think so, sis. You're lying." This because they made the argument that there were flaws in the evidence that OP brought up, and then they recreated that evidence, but better, without flaw, convincing people that this person was a liar and that there was hope that this anime was out there. This sparking the creation of a new subreddit by the name r/Saki-san Nobashitsu? Something like that. This new subreddit was made for the believers who really wanted to find this lost anime, making it a no-troll zone. This community went on to find new leads, one of them being about The Lady in the Sea of Blood, and how this film actually had a lost anime. And so they had one of the people on Twisted Anger help them in their search, and they found what was believed to be the page that had shown Go for a Punch, though the page was taken down in the Wayback Machine that people speculated was due to trolls. And now all that is left to do is speculate about the animation, to speculate if it even existed to begin with. But that doesn't mean that the community has died. People are making fan art, they're still putting out their theories, and, you know, surprisingly enough, they're making their own recreations of the animation, which is kind of interesting Like, okay, sis, I don't know why the heck you would want to make something like that, but go off, I guess. Like, yeah, man, we still get to experience this. Way to go, team, am I right? I mean, I guess that's just the magic of the internet, bringing people together in just the best ways. And the third and final story that I'm going to tell you about is about a lost Japanese commercial called Hitogata. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Sorry if I pronounced anything wrong in this video. This story starts out a pretty hot minute ago, back in 2004, on a website called 2chan, which is kind of like the Japanese version of 4chan, but also not. Anyway, an anonymous user replied to the prompt about scary commercials and ads with a description where he said that there was two white figures against a black background with a gong-like noise ringing in the background as well, and that there was text that said that every 2 seconds a man dies on Earth. Along with that, the ringing sound would play 2 times as the figure disappeared and then came back, and then it would switch to the other figure that would ring 2 times, it would disappear and then come back, and it would switch between those 2 figures repeatedly until the commercial ended. Other than descriptions and people claiming that they had also seen this commercial, there really isn't anything else to prove that this commercial did exist. Some people claim that they saw the commercial and that it actually had a railroad as a backdrop rather than just a black screen. This leaving people to believe that this wasn't a commercial and that it was a PSA about railroad accidents. People believed that this PSA aired from 1996 to 2003, but other than that, there really isn't much information about this, making it more likely to be an urban legend rather than a lost piece of media. So you might be asking, what does Hitogata mean anyway? I've heard some people say that the English translation translate into doll or mannequin-like, but from the Lost Media Wiki, it says that it means white human or humanoid or white person. So that makes a lot of sense why it would be called Hitogata. So yeah, that's basically everything I have on this commercial, PSA, whatever it is. No one even knows if it really exists. But I think that's the fun of it all. The just obscure idea that this just happened to be a PSA with no other content is kind of creepy. The word I just tried to say there was context, but my program cut it out for some reason, which I think is fucking hilarious because first of all, it's ironic, and second of all, kinda spooky. It's too perfect for the topic of this video, so I'm gonna keep it in, so fuck you. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Do I think this video was good? I don't know. I don't know if I'll like it. I don't know if I like it right now, because this is definitely something different. I guess this video is just, first of all, I'm sharing information that I think is interesting, and second of all, just a learning experience. I need your guys' help. If there's anything that I missed or that I left out that is important to the stories that I told, please feel free to comment them down below. I mean, there is a reason I mentioned that I'm an idiot before telling all these stories, because sometimes I just forget, and it is what it is. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below, and you should definitely subscribe. Yep, that's what you should do. Definitely. Also, feel free to share the video, please and thank you. I'm desperate. Okay, love you. Bye-bye. Hey, Orange, you're gonna press that subscribe button.